welcome back. No pun intended. I hope you enjoyed last week's episode of the first Vertebros conversation. Dr. Matt and Dr. Zach here today. So excited to be with you. So today, one of the hot topics we're going to talk about is what are the pharmaceutical companies not telling you? So that can be a touchy subject, right? Because everyone who's listening right now probably knows someone who's on some type of medication. Right, Dr. Zach?
That's right.
Yeah. So what we find is that way too many people are on medications. Now, we've actually, when we were doing a little research, right, and looking into all the different stats, it actually blew my mind that we find that over 40% of all Americans are on some type of medication, which is just crazy because if you think about that, just line up 10 people and guarantee 4 of those people are on some type of medication. Not only that, is the average American is on upwards to 4 medications, which is even crazier, right, Doc?
That it is. And so what that really means in general is that just more and more people are taking these medications, right? And it can be for a variety of conditions. A lot of big ones are heart conditions and like diabetes. Those are probably like the top 2 things. But other aspects can be like opioids for a lot of pain, such as joint pain, or like antibiotics for lots of different types of infections. Or a big common thing nowadays is a lot of like anxiety, depression, ADHD, and that's becoming more and more prevalent in the younger population as well, not just as we age.
Yeah, so that's even another crazy thing. When you start breaking down the percentages of how many people are on medications, you take the age group from 11 to 0, we're looking at around 18% of that population is on some type of drug. So just go ahead and look at all the little kids, and at least about, 20% of them are going to be on some type of drug, which is just brutal, right? So we start looking higher than that. Of course, it doesn't go down. It goes all the way up to around 27% of people between the ages of 11 to 19. You go a little bit further, from 20 to 59, we're looking at upwards to 48%, give or take a few percentages. Half of the population, or half of those people in that population is on drugs. And then when you're 60 plus, forget it. 85% of that population is on medications. It's absolutely sickening. And of course, you guys know, as you know people in your life, that it's not just one medication people are on. They're on multiple medications. So one of the biggest lies that are told is that all you need to do is take this drug and it's going to fix all your problems. But what we find is this, is that one medication leads to another medication. That medication leads to a different medication. That medication leads to another medication. Next thing you know, you're taking drugs for drugs that you didn't even know you're taking drugs for a condition you didn't even know you had. It's absolutely mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, this isn't to say that taking a prescription drug is a bad thing necessarily, but we're just finding that the more and more you take it, you think you'd be healthier, right? But what we find is that Americans, do you think that we're healthier or more unhealthy than we've ever been?
I think you all know that answer.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's almost leading you down the path, but actually the average life expectancy in the U.S. has actually decreased for the past 2 to 3 years, which is the first time in about 100 years that's happened.
That blows my mind.
Which is just crazy. So we're taking more drugs, yet we're not living as long, and it's just like, it doesn't make sense.
We're spending less money on healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Because, of course, if we're dying earlier, well, it's probably because we're not spending as much.
Yeah.
No, that's a big lie as well. We actually spend more than any other country in the world, and we're just pouring money into the healthcare system, but we're dying younger, and we're on more meds. So obviously it's like, well, okay, chiropractor, what's the solution? Well, I'll tell you this much. First and foremost, we got to get people out of that reactive form of care, okay? So reactive care is you've waited too long, now you're in dire straits. And the medical realm is fantastic when we're trying to get you out of a ditch, right? But 85+% of those people, or of our population, goes to that model first, which in all reality, we should be probably focusing more on that preventative model first. And only 15% or less are actually doing a lot of the proactive stuff you need to be doing. Now, we've talked a lot about different conditions, but the number one condition that people deal with throughout life is joint pain, right? Chronic joint pain at that. And if you start looking at joint pain, you actually find that back pain in general is going to be the number one of those joint pains. So, of course, who would have thought chiropractors? We work on, what is it that we work on again?
Backs.
Yeah, that's right. Who would have thought we work on the spine? So, of course, we see tremendous results in people not having to take medication. Now, in our practice alone, we ask that question. Are you off of new medications? Are you on new ones? Anything like that? And we see consistently people are off more meds. Actually, if you do some Googling yourself, you'll find that there's lots of studies that show that people who are under chiropractic care don't take as many medications. One of the most recent ones I just read is right around 66% less medication use when someone's under chiropractic care.
Yeah, and so, we know if you're, taking less medication and taking care of your spine, I mean, you're going to be healthier. So
Yeah. Now, we could talk for hours, but we don't want to lose your attention. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please comment below. Share. If you like what we're talking about, please just spread this around. Let people know. And of course, if you want more info, please feel free to reach out to us. We'd love to continue to teach. That's what our mission is here. Thank you.